SeniorLivingGuide.com podcast discusses topics which are relevant to the everyday lives of seniors and their caregivers. We are joined by experts who share their knowledge on a variety of issues. SeniorLivingGuide.com podcast offers solutions and resources to create the best quality of life as we age. And now, let's welcome your host, Darlene Mahoney.
Does the idea of searching for senior housing solutions seem overwhelming and you aren't even sure where to begin? SeniorLivingGuide.com makes senior housing search, home care, home health, as well as many senior resources available to you right at your fingertips in one easy-to-navigate website, allowing you to decide what best fits your needs and budget, connecting you directly and exactly how you want to connect. SeniorLivingGuide.com podcast would like to express our gratitude to our podcast sponsors, Terabella Senior Living, where seniors unlock a richer, more rewarding lifestyle for assisted living and memory care in a warm, welcoming environment. And best-selling author Tom Marks, his new best-selling book titled Coming of Age in Retirement, an advertising executive's story of enlightenment and revelation, is now available on Amazon.com. And today we are joined by Tom Marks, who is the leading voice of retirement, happiness, and best-selling author of the #1 book on retirement in America, the #1 mental health book, the #1 philosophical memoir, and the #1 best-selling book on aging, Coming of Age in Retirement, an advertising executive story of enlightenment and revelation. Thank you for joining us today. I'm so excited to talk to you again.
Well, I'm excited to see you, to be available to your listeners and viewers if we're going to be on video. And it's always a big and important part of my day when I can do not just a podcast, but your podcast, Darlene.
We love that you're on our podcast, and we love the book and the information and all the inspiration that you share with seniors going into retirement and those that are in retirement that are still trying to figure it out. So,
yeah, welcome to the club.
I know, right? Well, I did want to ask you a question, and this is super off topic about what we're going to talk about today, but I heard a little rumor about your family and a relationship to Orville Redenbacher. Can you tell us that? Because I just thought it was so fascinating.
Yeah. So, I've written about this, obviously, and I enjoy telling this story so much because I was so close to my parents. They're both deceased, and my father was a pretty famous advertising guy in the 60s, 70s. And he was in Chicago, and he had left his agency, which was Foot Cone & Belding, which is this huge multi-billion-dollar agency, and set up his own shop, but he specialized in the food and drug business. And Orville Redenbacher, who was an ag graduate of Purdue University, lived in Valparaiso, Indiana, and he had a company called Red Bow Popping Corn, where he had some seeds and he put them in a little plastic baggie and he sold them to taverns so that they could have a better quality popcorn. And it went nowhere for about 10 years. And he got the name of my father, Melvin Marks. And my father drove down to Valparaiso, which is only a little over an hour from Chicago. And they sort of struck this deal. And my father came back a month or two later and said, look, I want to call this Orville Redenbacher's Gourmet Popping Corn. I want to put it in a glass jar, which was unheard of. I mean, the shipping costs and the packaging costs, and I want to triple the price of the leading brand, which was Jiffy Pop. I don't know if you're too young to remember that.
No, we did Jiffy Pop.
Yes, you are. Anyway, you shook that thing, over the stove, and then
I loved
this
it.
Thing, this foil bulbous thing that, People burned their hands on it. Shit.
No.
So anyway, so he came back and he said, "Oh, I'm going to get a sketch artist, and we're going to draw you and put you on the label." And obviously, the rest is history. And
Mhm.
Orville Redenbacher ultimately sold that many, I mean, in the 80s, I think, for 40 or $50 million to Hunt Wesson. So, yeah, my dad was behind that.
I love that. That's such a great story.
It is a great story
Yeah.
until my father, told me years later, I never knew the punchline, which was he was stiffed.
Oh,
I know. So he
yeah.
only got, well, he got three-quarters of his
Yeah.
fee.
That's what
But
reminds me of the story on McDonald's. I don't know if you ever watched that documentary, but um, that's kind of what happened to the founders, the original OG McDonald's. Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
So, yeah. Always good to have a good lawyer. Well, I know that you and I have talked a little bit about individualism and being an individual person as you retire because we have so many roles as you're a child, you become a teenager, you're a dependent, you become a parent, you become a mother, and you have to really play into a lot of those roles. But you and I were just chatting a little bit about once you go into retirement, you don't have to like stick with all the expectations and all the roles that you've been really kind of doing your whole life.
Right. So we are defined throughout our entire lives, whether we want to
Mhm.
be or not, or whether we know it or not. We're defined as infants and adolescents by our parents. We're defined by our possessions and our careers and our profession and our education. And there's no way out of it. But when you're retired, you're not as defined. You're not defined by your profession, it's gone. You're not defined by the accumulation of all this stuff, that's either in the garage or in the attic. And we're not trying necessarily as hard to keep up with the Joneses,
Mhm.
or we shouldn't. And it's the one time in our lives when we retire that we should be as individualistic as we possibly can, where we do the things we want to do when we want to do them for whatever reason we want to or wherever we want to, because we shouldn't again be defined by any guardrails or any societal or cultural beliefs. We need to do whatever we want to do. And in fact, I want to read you, only because I probably would have to paraphrase it and screw it up. But there's this wonderful quote by Henry David Thoreau. And when I first saw it, I thought of you.
Hmm.
And I think there's a little bit of you, Darlene, in this quote. There's certainly a lot of me in this. And Thoreau said, let me just see if I can find this. But Thoreau said, if a man does not keep pace with his companions, perhaps it is because he hears a different drummer. Let him step to the music he hears, however measured or far away it is. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I just love the symbolism
Yeah, I mean,
and the way
it's
he
our
describes it.
right. It's our time. I mean, we shouldn't be categorized or put into any of these demographic groupings. And, one of the things we were talking about, since we're both from the ad profession, I mean, you're still in it, I'm not. But ad agencies, which was my business, have stereotyped us and grouped us together. And there's this cohort of seniors that demographically is defined as people who are 55 plus, so 55 to 95. That's a 40-year swing. I mean, I'm not doing in my 70s what I did when I was in my 50s. And I sure wish I'd be able to do in my 90s what I'm doing now, but I doubt it. So we've been grouped together, we've been stereotyped, and in my book, I wrote, incessantly, and because I needed to really prove it, how advertisers and ad agencies stereotype us with, being sad and lonely with brown spots and wrinkles and gray hair, um, and that's not the case. But it's been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. And I just think it's our time. It's time we do whatever we want and dress the way we want. I mean, look at these crazy pants I'm wearing. I mean, you know, I mean, we
Oh
that's
my goodness.
I know these are from that wild store in Nashville where all the musicians go.
Oh my gosh, I love
Imogene and
it.
Willie, I think it's called. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I mean, who says we can't do this stuff?
Hmm.
I mean, we can do whatever we want to do. So there, I said it and I ranted.
You know what? You're 100% right. I do think that, we have an expectation of older people as grandma, grandpa, right?
Yeah.
They're older people, they, all the different things. And clearly some of these folks they are grandma and grandpas, but that doesn't mean that they have to have that part where they're frail or they're dependent or whatever the case may be. One thing about my grandmother is my grandmother lived to be in her late 90s.
Wow.
And that woman did not stop. She was impressive. She wore me out. And it was because she was living her life. And honestly, she lived it the way she wanted to, because I can tell you, she was crazy, but crazy in the best of ways. But she really did live and do and say exactly what was on her mind. And I know some people find that, a little bit much. But I do think that it was just such an inspiration to me to see her live her life that way. That's my intention as well.
I think that I can see that. I can see you're going to be that way if you aren't already.
I definitely am on the inside, but life definitely, in my current state as far as, working full time and all the things that still go along with not being retired. You do have limitations on some of those things as far as, your expression and what you can wear. I will tell you, the crazy thing is you sharing your pants, the crazy
Well,
pants.
yeah, I mean, it's got to be a first on your podcast.
100%. I absolutely have gotten to the place where I'm going to dress the way I want to dress, and I've gotten to where if it's just not cotton, I don't want to wear it. If it's not comfortable, now I still think I look cute because I'm a girl. I mean, I have those goals, but at the end of the day, if it's not comfortable, I don't want to buy it. I don't care what brand it is. I don't care who else is wearing it. I don't care if it's in fashion. I'm just, I have a goal to just be comfortable no matter what I'm doing or where I'm going.
Yeah, I think that I'm going to toss in a little social media into our conversation because, I mean, we know that social media has done as much to pull us together as it has to break us apart.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of social media, particularly Facebook, which does skew. I mean, my kids wouldn't, they don't even know what Facebook is.
Nope.
I mean, it's all, TikTok and Instagram and whatever. But there's so much stuff on Facebook about how we're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And, all this one-upmanship. I went, here and I got these photos. And I think that's actually been a little detrimental to our individualism because, we're grouped together with however many people are on Facebook that are 55 plus, millions, tens of millions. And those are just outside influences that don't help us be individuals. And I'm not talking about individualism as being independent. That's something else, particularly in retirement, where sometimes you lose your independence to be healthy and mobile and stuff like that. I'm talking about being an individual and speaking up for ourselves. And as we've discussed, seniors in the United States own 70% of everything. Everything.
Mind-boggling.
It's unbelievable. And I mean, so we own 70% of the hoodies that, our grandchildren are wearing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of the cars we bought our children when, they were 17 or 18. I mean, we own 70% of everything, and over 50% of the disposable income in the United States is controlled by seniors. We're the ones supporting movie theaters and retailers and bowling alleys and curling clubs now that we're in the Olympics. But people forget that, and I think we don't know that. So it's our time. I mean, I told you that I'm working on an article for you that I've been working on forever, called "Retirement is Hot Right Now. Don't Get Left in the Cold." I will finish it, I promise. But retirement is cool now. I mean,
Yeah.
I've got, I think we might have talked about this, but, my children say that their friends wish their dad was as cool as me. And, I just say, oh boy, then they must not be really cool at all, because I'm not. But I mean, that's flattering.
Yeah.
It is.
100%.
It feels
100%.
good.
Yeah.
So, but, when I go to the gym and, everybody's half my age or less, they're talking about, oh, it's only Wednesday, or, and I tell them, look, I don't even know what day it is. And the only way I do is because if it's Friday or Saturday, I have to make a dinner reservation. That's the only way I know.
What day it
And
is.
they're like, "Oh, I'm so jealous." And it's like, "Yeah, well, don't forget, I also worked for 48 years,
Yeah. You were on the hamster wheel like we've talked
I
about.
was on the hamster wheel,
Yeah.
and but I got off. Hello, everyone. I'm Tom Marks, best-selling author of the #1 retirement book in America called Coming of Age in Retirement, an advertising executive's story of enlightenment and revelation. It's also the best-selling book on aging, the #1 mental health book, and the #1 memoir in America. I'll be a regular guest on this podcast, and I'll be providing Senior Living with lots of blog posts and articles. Thanks for reading my new book and listening to this podcast.
Look for Tom Marks' books on Amazon.com.
At Terra Bella Senior Living, seniors unlock a richer, more rewarding lifestyle for assisted living and memory care, offering daily activities, home-style dining, and 24-hour care in a warm, welcoming environment. Tour today to see the comfort and care we offer at Terra Bella.
You got off the hamster wheel, and you're a much happier person for it.
Yeah, so I know we probably talked about this on the last podcast, or for anybody that's read my book. I was as a business owner and, an owner of this global communications company, I had no life. I mean, I had all these employees, and the employees had families, and sometimes those families had families, and I felt I was on the hook. I mean, I was supporting these people, and I know there are employers that might not feel that way, but I did. And I really had no other life except my business life. And, this gets back to the whole expression that I think I created, but I'm not sure. Who are we when we are no longer who we were? And I was nobody. I mean, it didn't matter if I was, directing national TV commercials. Hell, people wouldn't even, remember those commercials anymore. They just joke and say, "Oh, it was probably in black and white," or something like that.
Well, some of them I think are very nostalgic to some of us that are in the older generation, not the newbies, but some of those are just nostalgic. And we always, I think we think back and we think, it was a much simpler time. And some of those commercials were just feel good.
Yeah, well, they weren't created by AI. They were created by hard work,
And and using your noodle, I think that, the critical thinking is, that's a different subject, Tom.
Well, I could go into, well, I am going to go into my AI rant because I think it's bittersweet for me
Yeah.
because I do believe that technology can change the world. I
Yeah.
really do. I think, medically, pharmaceutically, I mean, science, I mean, it can. But when I give a speech, and people always ask me about AI, I can't get out of it. But, I tell them that the one thing that bothers me right now, and I think it'll change, is ask your AI bot, whoever you use, what it's like to lose a child. And
Mm.
then ask it, how does it feel dancing your first slow dance to the Beatles' Hey Jude? And then ask what it was like to meet the love of your life the first time and your heartbeat. Because AI doesn't have a heartbeat yet.
Right.
And it can't answer those three questions. So I get all these emails from people. Oh, I asked what it's like to lose a child, and it came up with this just general. Oh, it's the saddest day. You'll never forget
Mm-hmm.
it. But it's got nothing to do with how we feel. So I as a writer, I don't use AI, um, but I see so many wonderful possibilities, but it doesn't have a heartbeat yet. So there's my
Yeah.
AI rant.
No, I 100% agree with you. And it is scary that there are people that are lonely in the world that are utilizing AI
Oh yeah.
as companions.
Well,
So
this is why I like talking to you so much because, we can say, let's just talk about this.
yeah.
And that goes out the window at about 8 seconds.
Hmm.
So, so I enjoy being able to talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah. No, I like the fact that we can talk about that too. And I know that AI is not something we were going to talk about, but that's something that's,
No, we weren't.
for our older generation, for our seniors, and it can be a little bit scary. And then trying to really understand how it works, I think is something that people are still doing those Google searches, which, I think that I love the old school Google because I've been doing it for so long. But, when Google first came out and all the things online, it was kind of scary. So we're going back into another age of kind of scary technology wise. So
Yeah, so I do think, I mean, I can make our quick AI conversation relevant and say that that does take away some of our individualism.
mhm,
I mean, because what AI is doing is it's scraping the web and,
mhm,
it's collecting all this stuff and putting it into a bite-sized, digestible piece of information for us. But it's not us. It's not me. And
mhm.
what is me is not you, and what's you is not your neighbor. So there is that sort of dilemma that we face that as great as AI is, it does affect our individualism.
100%. 100%. Even rewriting emails or putting in notes or asking for different things as far as, making your calendar or things like that. Sometimes I think that there's no personal touch. There's no heartbeat to it.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's the writer in me saying, we got to be careful because
Yeah.
we don't want to be reading the same thing over and over again that's been scraped by the web. Um, but I don't use AI to write, so not even an email.
And I don't lip sync in the car. So I'm just kidding. I sing as loud as I can and as obnoxiously as I can, as long as there's no one else in the car.
If you had only one group band that you could
Mhm.
listen to for the rest of your life, what musical group would that be?
To be banned?
No, what band? What
Oh, what
musical group?
band?
Yeah, if you could only listen to
Ooh.
one. I mean, like, who's your favorite?
Oh, that is like an impossible question.
That's like the people that ask me if you could only
Yeah.
eat one food, or one ethnic food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Yeah, I couldn't answer that one either because, variety is the spice of life.
Yeah.
So I
So, I
think
mean,
that,
so if you're going to sing in the car,
yeah.
who do you want to sing to?
Um, hmm. I'm thinking, I don't even know if I want to say this out loud, but I love a good Pink jam.
Well, Pink can sing.
She can sing and she is women empowerment all day long.
Oh, 100%. I
Yeah.
mean, Pink, Adele, I mean, she's got a
Oh,
great
yes.
voice.
Yes.
I mean, and Gaga.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those are three voices from heaven,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I've gotten to where I'm listening to a lot more Adele these days. Her voice is incredible.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gracious. So one of the things when we're talking about, I know we were on the topic of individualism. Do you think that, kind of how I describe my grandmother as far as someone that just did what she wanted to do, said what she wanted to say, do you think that that's something that like society as a whole pushes back against? Or do you think it's something that's more accepted as you get older? And that's an expectation kind of from society, I guess is what I'm getting at.
I think society pushes back on individualism in ageism.
Oh, for sure on ageism. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I think there's so many examples of that. I mean, you could see an 80-year-old on a Harley or, some guy trying to be a younger guy. And I mean, I get all that. I mean, that's not me. And I don't know that that's individualism, but that's their way of expressing it. So I do think there is pushback on people who are older, who dress the way they want to dress, say the things they want to do the things they want to do. But in the end, that might be jealousy.
Well, my thought is, who cares?
Yeah, well, I mean, I
think that I'm glad that people are doing that, and I just hope that they can have that who cares, and they don't let societal norms or what younger people try to impose on them alter their desires to be individualistic, because life is very short. I know the term YOLO, you only live once, is true. It's 100% true. And I think as you get older, your opportunities, based on your health and sometimes economic restrictions, if you're, you didn't, have a large 401k and you're more on the Social Security side, or you're, those different, or you're dependent on your family, it limits your ability to do some of the things that you want to do. But that doesn't change you as an individual on your own expectations, your own heart, your own joy, the way you want to kind of live out loud.
That's right. Because, we are at this, not you, but I'm talking about we when I shouldn't be. I shouldn't be talking about we when I'm talking about individualism.
Yeah.
But we should be able to do whatever we want to do without any pushback. That's not going to be possible because there are always going to be people that trip us up. But now is our time to do that stuff. And I was talking to this guy who was thinking, I got to do this now because I'm not going to be able to do it in 5 years. Or, if I don't, do this today, what will tomorrow bring? And I think, that's sort of defeatist. I mean, sure, I want to do all these things while I can still do them. But there are things like your grandmother was doing well into her 90s that weren't, based on necessarily climbing Mount Everest and stuff like that.
Oh, no. Honestly, it was just living her life and leaving her house when she wanted to leave it, go visit who she wanted to go visit. If she wanted to do a little travel, she would. She traveled, but she wasn't a huge traveler. She totally enjoyed it. But the things that were important to her her church family, very important to her. But she was a little sassafras. I mean, she would things pop out of her mouth with no apologies. And she was never horrible or rude. I'm not implying that, but she really just was very herself.
Yeah, and we shouldn't have to apologize for anything that we want to do. I mean, we've probably apologized our entire lives, whether we knew it or not, or, we're fearful of pissing someone off, or, we walked on eggshells way too many times. I know I did,
Yeah.
particularly in our, when you have clients. I mean, what can you do? But we now more than ever, people who are, in their mid 60s and older need to, without fear of retribution or what people think, do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's my thing right now, in addition to all my other stuff, but that's really what I'm writing about and talking about, that it's our time and we need to make the most of it, because life isn't an endless odyssey.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this was such a great conversation.
Well, we're just conversing.
I know. And I really want to empower our listeners to be individualistic, to live their life out loud, to be non-apologetic for the choices that they make. So I think this was a good conversation, and I'm hoping that our listeners can kind of take a little bit of that and find empowerment in it.
Yeah, that would be great, because, anything that you, Darlene, put out there is going to have an impact on people. You're an influencer. And my days of being an influencer are probably over, but
I would not say that.
I said it. But, the fact of the matter is, we really should do what we want to do. And we should be able to do that throughout our lives, but we're not. But now we really are. And I hope your listeners understand and take this initiative to heart. And who cares? Just do whatever you want to do. We've earned it.
I like it. Yeah. Oh my gosh. This has been so much fun. I wanted to tell our listeners that if you want to learn more about Tom, he does have his book that is now available. It's available on Amazon. The link is also going to be in the link to the description of the podcast. So you'll be able to click on it and find it there. And Tom is also our podcast sponsor. So I do want to encourage everyone to kind of take a look at his book and get some additional encouragement from that after this podcast. And he's coming out with a new book. What's the title of your new book?
I have 2 books coming out. I can't believe this. I mean, I'm literally working 30 hours a week.
Wow.
But I have a similar book to Coming of Age in Retirement. It's actually been commissioned by the credit union industry, of which it's a big, there are 148 million members of credit unions in the United States. So I'm, writing this book for them, which talks about there's more to retirement than financial planning, which is what any financial institution would sort of, want you to do. And that's the right thing to do. But there's more to a happy retirement than just the money. So I'm writing that book, and I hope that comes out in the summer. I don't know. I haven't done anything in the last 2 days, so I've fallen behind my 4,500 words a week that I owe my publisher.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I think I'll be working this weekend. And then I have a second book, as you know, and maybe if it's not a problem, if it is, it's not a big deal. I'm the editor-in-chief of this online retirement collective called The Peaceful Retiree. And there are about 24 authors that contribute to it. And we're coming out with an anthology of about 150 of their articles.
Oh, Ooh, I
Yeah.
like.
And I'm
Yes.
hoping, I think all the articles are due by the end of May. So maybe in September, this book will be out.
Yep.
And so, then what?
Right.
I have no
And
idea.
we have included the peacefulretiree.com as a link on the podcast, which
Oh, good.
you can definitely check that out and get inspiration from others than just Tom. So yeah,
Yeah.
so that's a
Yeah,
great
not just
opportunity.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, great opportunity. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And you will be on another podcast here soon, I'm sure. And we'll be talking about something completely different. But until then, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please find us anywhere you enjoy podcasts, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, all kinds of different places. Thanks.